So, Michelle,
Yeah.
what were you doing just then before we went live? You started like punching or something.
Oh,
What
I
were
was
you
just
doing?
pounding on my table because I'm stressed out and I realized I can't do that when Gigs is around, so it seemed like the
Oh,
perfect time.
so you're like, time to get my fill while I can, while the
Yeah.
getting is good. Yeah, when the dogs are away sometimes, like when they're with a pet sitter for a night or something while we're traveling or whatever, I always have that moment when I make a really loud sound and I'm like, oh, no one and nothing cares.
Hmm.
It's a weird sense of autonomy. Like you accidentally drop something in the kitchen that makes like a really loud sound and then just nothing else happens.
Yeah, it's
It's
weird.
kind of nice. It also reminds you you're alone
Hmm.
forever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I was about to say how are you today, Michelle, but you're not well.
Not really.
Sorry. Well, so I mean, there are lots of good reasons, but the main reason is you have your Gigs is getting her teeth cleaned right now, your
Hmm.
cat Gigs. And it's just frustrating for those who don't have pets. It's just you have to it's they have to go under anesthesia. So you just have to kind of nervously wait, and hopefully everything went great, which it probably has gone very well.
I mean, we don't even know if it's happened yet.
I would be shocked if they hadn't done the surgery by 2 o'clock because I'm pretty sure most small animals need at least 4 hours to recover. It feels like that's late. But I only know what they do with dogs.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
maybe with cats it's different.
I mean, I really don't know. Just said they'd call me when she was recovering and stuff.
Yeah.
They said they're gonna shave her arm, which I don't want them to.
Oh, that's gonna be so cool for the IV.
Yeah.
Oh, she gonna have a small leg. She's gonna be walking around with one small leg.
Well, I mean, her she's short hair and her fur is pretty close, so I don't think it's gonna be that small,
I
especially
think it
not
will
on her
be.
legs.
I think it'll be very noticeable. Although I have impossibly fluffy dogs.
Mhm.
Like when
Yeah.
Chicano had a bare chest from his tumor removal, it looked very funny for quite a while. Because the incision heals way faster than the fur grows in. So
Mhm.
like he had no stitches, no nothing, just a minor scar, and he was still very like smooth down there.
Yeah.
And he has that super white skin too. So
Mhm.
like, or not white, but very, very, very fair and pink. So you just like be like, oh, look at the little pink boy. Look at the little pink boy. That's why I was calling him during this, calling him little pink boy.
Mhm.
So, and then when they shave his little leg to put a IV in or whatever, it there's just like it's just like big puffy and then like indent.
Mhm. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean I can't pretend my dogs aren't both obscenely fluffy. That is definitely accurate. Also, I didn't have the chat up so that I could read it. David Denoyer said Rumpel couldn't have a dental cause, being dental. He couldn't have a dental cleaning because being 20, the vet couldn't guarantee she'd wake back up. Uh, but then he says cats seem more susceptible to anesthesia from what Ali was telling me. I didn't think cats were more susceptible, but I mean, like once Henwolf is way up in senior, they're going to say the exact same thing. They say that to any animal once it gets into a certain point of seniority.
Yeah.
But like even my mom's 15-year-old Shih Tzu is still healthy enough to go under anesthesia.
Mhm.
So it does. It's once you enter into an extreme level of age, they don't really recommend it. That's one of the reasons they kind of recommend you try to get the teeth cleanings done. Is because one day you won't be able to have their teeth cleaned anymore. So you want to make sure you've done as much as you can for their teeth. As
Yeah.
Henwolf literally staring at me from the hallway, I really need to schedule her a teeth cleaning, but it's so expensive.
Mhm. Yeah.
But I need to get that on the books. I've almost paid off the care credit card, which means that I'm due to max it out again. I that's literally I feel like that's in the terms, but like you don't even have to know you agreed to it. Just in the terms of it's like be aware that when the balance reaches zero, you will need another medical procedure.
Mhm.
So it's like consarn it. So and Chicano needs a teeth cleaning relatively soon too. She also could use that little tumor on her neck taken off. It's non-cancerous. We already know it's benign, but may as well cut it off while they're in there. At least it's on the back of her neck, so she won't have to wear the what people like to call it the cone of shame, but on Henwolf it's the cone of destruction.
Yeah.
So, and then poor Chicano, when he wore the cone, he just laid on the ground and gave up. Like
Yeah.
when it was on him, he just laid on the ground and gave up. Wouldn't even try anything. Just nope. I died. So, but I'm sure Gigs is okay.
We'll see.
Maybe you'll luck out and you'll get the call while we're on the air.
I mean, it's possible, but yeah.
It seems highly likely. Well, I'm sorry. Really, I mean, we've only done 122 episodes. I'm glad you know to shrug to answer questions.
Yeah,
To this
yeah.
day. I remember when we started doing the show, we didn't see each other because visually we couldn't see each other because this was before the great Zooming of human existence, where now everyone basically knows how to Zoom with each other to do Zoom meetings and stuff. So we used to just talk, and it was like kind of like the phone almost. We couldn't see each other, and I'm trying to remember if you used to shrug on that too.
You couldn't tell though, because couldn't see me.
Yeah, part of me wonders if I'd be like, Michelle, you'd be like, I was shrugging, and I'd be like, okay, I get it. So yeah, I had to go to the bank. I had to start paying on my out of control Discover card, so I needed to do moving some money around. I sure hope that the next royalty check I get is decent. I really need to make a dent in my debt.
Yeah.
If you're out there, watch my movies on Tubi. I need those 30 cents. Come on, work with me here, people. But so right before I left, I had a person I've been friendly with message me and basically inform me that I ghosted them. But I ghosted them not by not replying to them, but by simply discontinuing to always initiate conversation. Because when they said that, I looked back at the last thing we'd said, and the last thing that was said was from me. So I hadn't been replied to ever.
Yeah.
And that made me think about like how many times in life you end up in like a totally one-sided friendship or a one-sided relationship of sorts, and how frustrating and like demoralizing it is to realize like, oh, if I just stop, I can't tell you how many, and I'm not trying to be that person, but I find it with women more than men on my end. I find that often women will expect me to like make all of the communication, to start all of the conversations. And it's so easy to stop being their friend because all I have to do is stop reaching out first, and then I'll literally never hear from them. Like I've had friendships end where because I just decided like, I'm just only going to reply. I'm not going to start the conversation, and then they never communicate again. It's a little bit of a bummer.
Yeah.
I mean, do you have any experience like that?
No.
None?
I mean, you think I reach out to people and like
I don't know. You do have friends.
I mean, I'm not sure about that.
The look on your face, just what the hell is he talking about?
Yeah, I don't know what you think my life is like, but I don't know. I mean,
for the record, I told you about this concept as like the concept of the episode, and you said sounds good. I assumed that meant because you had something to say about it.
oh no, it didn't.
Then why did you say you liked it?
Because I didn't want to hurt your feelings.
Well, my feelings are hurt now.
No, I mean, no, I don't know. I honestly, I mean, I guess maybe at one point I had those things, but I've just
Friends?
gotten yeah. No, like where I've tried a lot harder than the other person.
Sure.
I got really, really burned just constantly when I was
Yeah.
younger doing that, so I just kind of backed off.
Makes sense. I mean, it does. It makes sense. There's an attitude, especially when it comes to dating more so than just friendships, that men are supposed to like initiate everything all the time forever. And it's a really great way to feel like you don't matter very quickly. To be like, oh cool, so if I stop waking up every day and texting, there is no friendship. Nice. That feels good. Feels real good. Like, I notice when people go out of their way to message me. I notice it because I appreciate it. It's nice to know somebody wants to talk to me and not just because I'm contacting them.
I mean, you can look at it that way if that's the way you wanna look at it.
Well, I don't, but that's not, see, well, it would be different if, but the examples I'm giving are like, I don't start the conversation, so literally I never hear from them again.
Maybe they think that you don't like them anymore, and so
Well,
they're
I don't
afraid.
anymore now that they've never replied to me.
Mhm.
Like, I know I bug you a lot. Very often, I bug you, I contact you, you know, I initiate a conversation with you. But if I didn't initiate a conversation with you, we would end up talking in a day or two.
Mhm.
You know, because we're friends. We like wonder how each other are doing, and we want to check on each other and see what's up, or share funny stories, or share memes, or whatever. That's my point, is like, I don't expect them to religiously reach out, but when it turns out like, oh, I guess that's the end of the friendship because I stopped I stopped reaching out, it's like, well, then I think that was a pretty one-sided friendship.
Yeah.
Because this person who said like you ghosted me was like responding only in like one, maybe two or three words to everything I said anyway. So I started to get tired of it, and sometimes taking like 5 or 6 hours, like sometimes just not replying until the next day.
Mhm.
It's a little annoying, especially without any warning. There's no warning like, hey, I'm really busy, ever. There was never any like, I'm really busy or I'm at work. Never heard any of that. Just a key, and sometimes never replying to what I say at all. They just reply to the next day when I would follow up and be like, hey, how are you? And then they start talking to me. I'm like, hey, did you not even notice? Like, you'd think it would have been enough of a hint when I actually said, like, are you getting my messages?
Mhm. Yeah.
Because I legitimately was wondering. I was like, maybe she's just not getting these messages. So,
Yeah.
hey, my buddy Matt's in here. Matthew Ryan says it sucks when a friendship ends just because one person is the only one reaching out. It's tough. It really is. I mean, and it because friendships, obviously, they shift and they morph and they change, you know. But there is a sense of just like, ouch, when it's like, oh, I guess we never are friends again. I don't know. It's just something I thought about, and it's not like you were coming up with what the show should be about, so I was trying to figure it out. Stop looking at the chat.
I'm not.
Yes, you were.
Oh.
You're so vain. You're just like, but they might be saying something about me. I have to know. Oh, Dave said something. There we go. I take that shit hard, brother. I get it. It's not. That's the thing, like, and that's why I get mad at the idea of being told I was ghosting because I didn't start any more conversations. Because then it's like, not only are you being shitty in the way that you just don't feel like you need to talk or start the conversation, but then you feel the need to blame me for it. You have to be like, what's your deal? So now I know you strictly expect me to start every conversation.
Yeah, I
That's a
mean,
lot of pressure.
I also think that that's just shitty, like, why like, to just kinda out of the blue be like, "Oh, I guess you're ghosting me," 'cause
Yeah.
like, I mean, I totally agree with you, I think that's really shitty.
Yeah.
I just feel like maybe some people get caught up in their own shit and they just don't
Yeah. Well,
reach
but
out.
I'm not saying that they're like the worst person in the world, or that they should be punched in the head, or anything like that. All I'm saying is that's not a good friend. Like, some people go through times where they're not as ideal as, maybe they would like to be. And
Mhm,
that's totally fine. I would accept an apology or an explanation. Doesn't even really have to be an apology. I mean, I feel like sorry just fits in with the I was really busy with all this stuff. Sorry. I feel like
mhm,
sorry fits with that, but you don't have to lead with sorry. That's the other thing, is like, sometimes I meet people who, like, if they have to apologize, they think that's such a massive affront. It's like, no, I apologize like all day long, all the time. Like, sorry, I bumped my shopping cart into your cart. Like, it's there. I just don't understand people who have that mentality where they're just like, I don't have to do anything. People will just be my friend and actively friend me, even if I don't want to friend them,
mhm.
or if I don't feel like it. And then I'll be mad when they stop. That's the worst part. Like, to me, if you want to accuse somebody of ghosting, that's a very simple thing. You look back at your text, realize you sent 3 texts and never got a reply, and now it's been many days.
Mhm.
And then you could say, like, have I been ghosted? I've had to say that to people. Like, so am I ghosted now? Should I just like fuck off? Like, should I just fall down? Should I just take a long walk off short fuck? Like, is that what I need to do? And sometimes most times you get a nice response of like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm just this and that and this and that. It's like, no, I get it. Like, everybody's allowed to have a life full of challenge, you know?
Mhm.
Like, I can't pretend I've always been able to reply to a text message in like an hour or 2, but usually in a day or 2, I might figure it out. But yeah, but this person that ticked me off today, I mean, there was literally no excuse was even given. They were just like,
Yeah.
"So you're not talking to me anymore?" It's like, I said the last thing. I don't know what you want from me.
Yeah.
Like, what am I supposed to do? I really want to know. Like, what am I supposed to do? Michelle, tell me what I'm supposed to do.
Cry.
That's your answer to everything. I'm so tired of asking you questions when that's your answer.
I don't know.
Why do you always want me to cry?
I just think that's what you do when things are bad.
I mean, it's okay to cry. Crying gets the sad out. You remember that song?
No.
You don't remember It's Okay to Cry?
I don't think so.
It's okay. I would play it, but like we'll just get yet another copyright hit that I
Yeah.
have to explain away by going, well, we played 3-4 seconds of it and we talked over it the whole time. And they're like,
Yeah.
oh, we don't know if that's fair use. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? But we actually, much to my shock, we have not been demonetized in weeks.
Wow.
I guess it's because I haven't said Jew
Yeah.
or referenced your Judaism. So, or maybe it was that time I literally called out whoever manually reviews and said like they're going to demonetize us for talking about Judaism. And they were
Mhm.
like, uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. That's not a good look.
No.
So, I don't know. I've had a pretty rough week. Show business, right? There's no business like show business, like no business I know. And do you ever hear that joke about there's these 2 guys, right? And they work in the circus. And as they're moving along in life, they're getting frustrated because they work at the circus. They never really get to do anything fun, but they have the freedom. They get to be on the road. They get to be out in the world, traveling. And one of them, when they go to Binghamton, New York, one of them meets a girl while they're there and goes, dude, I'm staying. Like, I'm staying here with this girl and we're going to see if we can start a family or whatever. And the guy's like, I think you're making a mistake, but hey, it's your life. You do what you got to do. So then 5-6 years later, the circus comes back to town. And here the guy stands with his wife and 2 little kids, watching the circus parade.
Mhm.
And as he's watching the parade go through town, he notices that his old buddy is following the elephant with a dumpster and a scoop, scooping up their poop and putting it in the bucket. So he runs up to him and goes, Mark, I can't believe this. Like, don't you want to do something more with your life? Don't you want to get out of this? Like, look what you're doing. And Mark looks at him and goes, what? And quit show business? And I always loved that. I always loved that joke. That's a joke. There are books you like, read Moby Dick every 5 years. You'll get something new out of it every time, or Michelle is shaking her head because not everybody can see you right now.
Oh,
That's very
no.
ableist of
No.
you, by the way, to shake your head instead of
I
answering.
I know. But if I
Very.
say no, then what about the people who can't hear me?
You can say no and shake your head.
Okay.
And while you're at it, like write it on a piece of paper and hold it up too.
Mhm. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
But I love that joke because it's like, instead of it being like a great book or a great film that every time you watch it at different points in your life, you get more from it.
Mhm.
I get it from that joke. Every time I hear that joke, like I'm like, okay, I'm now almost 8 years into full-time in show business, and I really get that joke. Oh
Mhm.
my God, do I get that joke? Because there is this belief, this concept that show business is inherently glamorous,
Mhm.
that I used to be like, I don't think it is. And now I'm like, how could anyone think it is? Like the glamour of show business is like for like literally like 4% of the people in show business.
Mhm.
And even they are not glamorous all the time. Like, no matter how famous and how rich you are, you pretty much have to show up at 6 a.m. to get into makeup. Like, because no matter how rich and how famous you are, the sun comes up at a certain time every day, and they need you to be ready, and they need that light to
Mhm.
film you. So no matter how rich and famous you are, if you're starring in a movie, you can't be like, we're going to start about noon. I want to just like come over after I eat some In-N-Out burger. They can't. They'll just be like, no, like so it's going to be unglamorous. Or like big time directors, they end up frustrated as shit because people always talk about like how Alfred Hitchcock was mean to his actors. He was notoriously short with them and sometimes very mean with them.
Yeah.
But the legend goes that he used to like to befriend the actors, but then he always felt very betrayed by them when they would
Um,
do something he didn't like or whatever. Because by definition, if you're going to be a director, you at least when you're working are a control freak to some extent. I mean, you
sure.
may go with the flow plenty, but at the end of the day, everybody's asking you, what are we doing next? Is this good? Was that good? Did you like that? How do you feel about it? They're always
Mhm.
asking you questions.
Yeah.
But he got to a point where he used to just say actors are cattle. Like you just push them around. And a lot of people thought he just legitimately hated actors, but I think and some other people too, smarter people than me, think that what Hitchcock's real issue was that he had worked his entire life directing hit after hit movie for a really long time. All of his movies were big hits. And he still had to kowtow to some 28-year-old movie star in order to get the movie made at all. And if that movie
Yeah.
star was unhappy during the production, he could get fired,
Yeah.
but not them. And I totally get that. Like, especially after putting a good decade into making movies, I don't deal with actors that could do that. My level is too low, but
Mhm.
I could totally see like, it's like, wow, I put 15 years into my directing career and now this is their second movie and they can fire me.
Yeah.
You kind
Yeah.
of resent them,
Yeah.
especially if they throw that weight around. If they're like, I don't like it. It's like, well, but I'm in charge. It's like, are you? It's like, wow. So, and they know that stuff because their agents and their managers tell them, you have a certain degree of power that you should exert.
But but why? Why wouldn't they just want to be nice and get along?
Well, but I don't think they're being mean. I think they think they're being creative and giving their input. And
They
I think they don't quite understand the way it would feel because they haven't a lot of these people haven't
Mhm.
put like 20 years of their lives into something. They probably barely have 20 years to put into anything. Uh
Yeah, but
yeah.
they should be told by people that are around them instead of like, "You gotta throw your weight around." They should be told, "You're not that smart, so just do what everyone else tells you."
You're like agents should be negging their clients. Listen, you're ugly and you're stupid. You're lucky to be here. Sit down and shut up. What
Actually,
what were you gonna say?
I don't know.
Oh, well, actually, that's not entirely an inaccurate thing either, though. When
Mhm.
actors tend to have really big egos, it's usually the rule of thumb is when an actor's being really difficult, but they are the star, like they have a power over the production. Traditionally, the studio will call their agent and be like, look, if they don't shape up, they're fired. And those
Mhm.
are the people who absolutely control, like they can decide the movie just doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
And usually then their agent is on the phone with them, like yelling at them and telling them like, what the hell is wrong with you? You da 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 da, and making them feel really stupid.
But, is that the first time they've made them feel really stupid? Is that the first time they've said, "Hey, these people could fire you?" Because if it is, they fucked up.
I mean, I'm definitely mostly referring to like the younger end of movie
Yeah,
stars.
and I'm
Cause yeah,
saying that they should be told that they need to shut the fuck up sometimes because they're young and they don't know what's going on and they wanna have careers before it comes down to if this person doesn't shape up, we're gonna fire them.
I like how mean Michelle is. This is my favorite part of the day. Jeff McClellan, my old buddy Jeffy, just commented, said actors are props. I I mean, I don't actually apply to that school of thinking. I think actors are a major collaborative benefit to any production. Getting to sit down, but it can be frustrating. Some actors demand a lot of you while everything else is also demanding a lot of you. You know, an actor will be like tugging on your shirt. Hey, I need to ask you a question. It's like, I'm telling them where to put the lights. What's up? You know, and then they'll be like, famous Alfred Hitchcock quote. A famous actor once said, "What's my motivation?" And he looked him dead in the eyes and said, "Your paycheck." I do, if I have the time, I like to sit down with an actor and talk about their motivation,
Mhm.
talk about the backstory of their character that I've imagined for them, or what the backstory they've imagined for the character is. Because some actors do an entire background on every character they do. Not
Yeah.
all, but some. Some do. Some of them even do it in writing. Like they write down
Oh.
like a backstory for their character. And then they say, "Will you read this?" And I go, "Yeah." And I never read it. Why would I read it? Why would I read it? I mean, because
Wha
I'm just going to find it out when I ask them questions later about how they're performing.
Why wouldn't you say, "No, let's just talk about it real
Because then
quick."
they'll start acting like crybaby actors.
This all just sounds, like, not fun.
What? And quit show business? See? See? Now you're getting it, kid. Now you're getting
Uh,
it. No, the problem is playing make believe all day. Just there's no way that can be as fun as it sounds like it would be. It just can't be that fun. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, I don't think it sounds fun, so
you don't think it sounds fun to play pretend all day?
not 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 when it's being recorded and
There's the
and
rub.
other people can see it.
That's the rub, man. That's the part that stinks. Uh, oh God. David Denoyer just commented, I mean, show business worked out great for Tammy Faye Baker. Well, it's not like she got murdered or anything. She just fell from grace after her husband embezzled way too much money from the church. Do you remember the Bakers?
No.
You don't remember I don't even remember the other guy's name. Dave and I last night we watched the Tammy Faye Baker biopic that just came out. She was a famous wife of a famous televangelist, and they did their own show,
Mhm.
right? And of all of the televangelists of that era of like the 70s, 80s, 90s, they were very progressive. Tammy Faye Baker would come out publicly and support homosexuals and stuff like that in the 80s, during like the Jim Baker was his name, in the 80s. She was very openly like supportive of gay rights, and she was until the day she died in 2007.
Mhm.
So, but the problem with the Bakers was they embezzled. I think that the final amount was something ridiculous, like $55 million or something was just missing.
Wow.
Yeah, because they were the first multinational televangelists. Their television channel was available in like every country that had a satellite dish.
Wow.
Yeah, and like meanwhile, like Pat Robertson's channel was like available to like a couple million people. So, um, but then some other sad things happened. Like basically, their ministry was the victim of what was equated to a hostile takeover. Jerry
Oh.
Falwell basically took it from them, and then he couldn't turn it around because he was Jerry Falwell, and Jerry Falwell is not only not a great person, but he's also like a totally shitty performer. He's just not interesting.
Hmm.
Like the only way you're gonna like Jerry Falwell is if you already agree with everything he has to say, because then he's a preach to the choir person. He was very anti-gay, very anti anything progressive.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't even remember most of what I know about what a shit person Jerry Falwell is comes from all the Mojo Nixon songs I listened to, because Mojo Nixon always was picking on Jerry Falwell in his music. So, I mean, but that says a lot, The thing with the Bakers was they used to just make fun of how Tammy Faye wore way too much makeup. Like she wore like an insane amount of makeup, and her eyebrows were like tattooed on, and she just looked, that way. And the big criticism people would give them is that they'd wear fur coats and jewelry, and they were very clearly crazy rich. But it was
Well,
because they were
more
embezzling from their
yeah.
from their church.
You think that They wouldn't
What?
be that stupid, but that's
Well,
fine.
the problem with embezzlement, and I feel like you should have insight into this being
Mm.
um still the best story you ever told me. But no, the problem with embezzlement is usually when people embezzle funds, it's because they sincerely believe that the money belongs to them.
Well, that's weird.
Well, you most people who embezzle funds are like the owners of a company or
Mhm,
the co-owners of a company. They're people who have access to the actual cash earnings
mhm.
and spending the money. They feel like it's theirs, even though it legally needs to be paid to them and taxed and da 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 da. Da.
Yeah, yeah.
But I like, and I'm not just talking about like big corporations. I cannot name names. I wouldn't want to anyway, but I have a acquaintance who got thrown out of a nonprofit organization for embezzlement. And it was not a big organization. I mean, they'd probably fundraised a couple $100,000 maximum in the entire time the organization existed.
Mhm.
But he embezzled. He stole money. And like I said, not super good friends with him. I'm being honest. I would admit if I was good friends with somebody and they embezzled money, I just wouldn't say their name. But he, when he was making amends about it, he said he was like, sincerely, I thought that it was mine. And it's important to point out that like he's not saying that to try and get away with it, because by saying that you're admitting guilt.
Yeah.
By saying I
Yeah.
believed that money was mine and that is why I embezzled it. That's like an explanation, but it ain't an excuse.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's what happened. So I think that they thought, since the money's being donated for God and they're messengers of God, it should just make their lives better. And they also did things like all of their property holdings were under the ministry, which is not really appropriate. Like your house isn't the ministry's property. You should have to pay taxes on
Yeah.
okay, correction. I don't think you should have to pay fucking taxes at all. But if we're talking about the way the world actually functions and not the way I dream of it, you need to pay taxes on the home then. Like it's not the ministry's house. You just live there in between working. But that does get hard when a company is entirely, you.
Mhm. Yeah.
It does get challenging, to separate. As a person who owns a sole proprietorship, I can tell you, although I can't embezzle because the company
It's
is
your sole
literally just
proprietorship.
me. So I
Yeah.
can't embezzle money.
Yeah.
Not from a legal standpoint. Oh, James Turner, good to see you, buddy. He said F taxes.
He's
I'm with
very
him.
polite not to curse.
He literally said EFF taxes. Yeah.
Mhm.
No, but that's the thing. Yeah. So they embezzled a lot of money. Tammy Baker didn't go to prison, but Jim Baker did. So he claimed she was unaware. She may have actually been unaware, but he
Yeah.
definitely said in court she was not aware of any of this.
Mhm.
So there were also all kinds of rumors he was probably gay and had lovers that were a secret. And then like a prostitute came out and said he paid her for sex and then paid her to keep quiet and stuff. There were a bunch of scandals. I'm
Mhm.
not here to say he's a great guy or anything, but yeah, he definitely embezzled that money. And I think he thought it was his. I really do.
Okay, that makes sense.
It makes sense because there's a lot about tax law that doesn't make any sense in some ways
Yeah, that
too.
you'd need someone to explain to you. So,
Yeah. Well, and they have accountants, but
yeah.
then the tricky thing is the accountants work for you. So if an accountant gives you the advice like you can get away with buying that fur coat today, they would never tell you now buy 500 fur coats. They might be like you can get yourself a little something every now and then on the church's dime. That's okay because it's the ministry is entirely run by you and your wife. But
Mhm.
one day to be like, okay, so just for ourselves, we bought like 7 Rolls Royces and 5 mansions, and it's like, oh, yeah, that isn't gonna work.
Yeah.
Like that's where it becomes a real trouble kind of thing. So I don't know, but I mean, because I'm getting ready to purchase my house, which I rent from my mother, who hasn't lived here in like this house in like 15 years. I rent it from my mother, and I'm going to be buying it off of her. But the amount of tax complications involved in this are very frustrating and
Mhm.
very stupid.
Yeah.
There's going to be a penalty if she sells me the house under market value. Then it will then legally it will be as if she gave me the money that the house is theoretically worth because no one's actually willing to pay the price. Like, that just pisses me off because everything I understand about capitalism, and I love capitalism, but everything I understand about capitalism is that whatever someone's willing to pay is what something is worth. Therefore, what? I want to hear what your point is.
Just because you're willing to pay that amount for it does not mean other people aren't willing to pay significantly more.
Yes. No, I agree, but nobody is standing at the plate saying I'm ready to pay this amount of money.
That's because the house isn't for sale.
But everything is for sale, Michelle.
Not if you try.
Everyone has a price, Michelle. No, that's my point though, is like you cannot you should not be able to penalize someone simply because of their lack of marketing.
Yeah.
It's not their fault they got a bad price on it. Shut up, not your business. Like, mind your business. Like, because it's not like when I buy the house, I'm not going to have to immediately start paying property tax. Like, nothing is going to change. It just pisses me off. Because then there's all kinds of issues about like exchanging large sums of money and gift tax, and it just pisses me off. And if I go, oh, please say something.
No,
You
I
say
don't
something,
know.
please. For the love of God.
No, but you're in the middle of a
You're my only
sentence.
hope.
You're in the middle of a sentence.
I did not want to finish. I don't want to keep talking about how mad I am about taxes right now.
Oh, but I was just gonna say something about that then.
Say it.
Oh, I was just gonna say, but how about all those people who buy the house for $1 from a family member? Because I see that all the time.
They will be, whoever gave the house will be taxed the fair market price of the house, as if they gave a gift of the fair market price.
Wow, that
Yeah.
sucks.
The $1 trick, I guess, used to be a little bit more of a loophole, but now it's not much better than just giving the house for $0 anymore.
That's dumb.
It is dumb. My mom's exact word. She's like, I should be able to sell it for whatever I want. It's mine. That's her
Yeah.
exact. And well, it's like, but that's where the government, who are shitty, that's where they come. They're like, you can sell it for any price you want. It's just you'll be taxed for the value. It's like, fuck you.
I know what to do.
I'm listening.
Okay, so you got to start destroying the house.
I was hoping this was going to involve a lot of fraud.
Yes. No, I mean, it's not really, because you're just going to basically make it uninhabitable. Like, we're gonna put out a claim so there's not any fraud at all, actually.
Okay.
And then you're gonna have somebody come out and I guess is the property value. Okay, so property value you're speaking about, is it based on what the county says your property value is, or based on what a person who comes out says?
I believe it'll have to be based on the property value the county says, because
Okay.
no one because otherwise the taxes would have to require us to hire someone to value the house.
Okay, it's still okay because you can contact the county and say, "I don't think this is right," and have them come out. And when they see that your house is only partially standing now, they're gonna be like, "You're totally right," and they'll devalue the house, and then your mom will have to pay less taxes.
And then we fix it, maybe? Probably
I
not.
mean, if you want to, but it's coming out of your pocket now because you own it.
Oh god. Oh, James Turner made a great point. I love this. I love points like this. These laws are here to ensure that you, Henrik, don't become ultra wealthy by getting a better price for your first home and become the 1% and buy Twitter. It's a fair point. But Elon Musk didn't have to buy Twitter. He could have just taken that $44 billion and bought 44 billion McDoubles and ended world hunger. Because that's how things work.
Yeah, well, at least ended hunger for somebody for today, I guess.
Also, I don't think there are 44 billion McDoubles in it that could exist at one moment.
Really? Because I think if you went to all of the McDonald's and you got them all to make as many as they could,
Yeah.
maybe.
My buddy Mike, he used to do this when we were on the road together. He would go to, we'd go to like a McDonald's or Burger King, Wendy's, whatever. And he'd walk up to the counter and he'd go, I have a question for you. And the lady's like, all right. And he's like, how many hamburgers could I get like right now? And she's like, what do you mean? He's like, what's the most amount I could order without a major wait? Like with no more than a 20-minute wait.
Mm-hmm.
And like the lady will sit there and think, and then like go get like an assistant manager and they'll like explain it. They'll like tell him exactly like, okay, we could definitely get you like 100 burgers in 25 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And they go, okay, I'll have one. That used to be his favorite pastime on the road. And the positive response and the negative response was like completely even. to
Mhm.
people being like, and people being like, ah, okay, that's pretty good. That was pretty good.
Mhm.
I'll have one. Uh,
It's too bad we already started making the 100 of them. So
damn you, Elon Musk. I'm enjoying all these memes that are saying like Elon Musk is going to buy Coca-Cola and put the cocaine back in, which
yeah.
Dave just mentioned in the chat, or like Elon Musk is going to buy Star Wars and fix the last couple of movies, or Elon, like it just keeps going. Uh, but oh, ooh, here's a good one. James Turner just said, someone yesterday tried to tell me that Elon, in fact, told the UN that he could fix world hunger with $6 billion. This came from someone terrified that Elon's purchase would lead to more disinformation. I remember that incident. The World Health Organization, or was it? No, it wasn't. It was the UN, not the WHO. It was the UN had said that $6 billion could fix world hunger, and Elon Musk replied by saying, "Show me how you would spend it, and I'll give it to you." And then they gave him a response, but it wasn't convincing at all, because the UN is notorious for wasting money, almost like they're a government entity. So it just blows my mind when people think. I mean, we have a world Hunger Program of the UN is what it was called. Thank you, James. We have a world where people understand that there are individuals who are worth like $300 billion, individuals who are worth $200 billion, $100 billion, and they really think that just one person's net worth would be enough to end all of the world's problems. I, at first I want to say I wish I lived in that world that they imagine where the problems are so easy to solve. But then I also don't wish I lived in that world, because in their world, the problems are so easy to solve. And the only reason people are suffering is just that no one wants to fix it.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Knowing what we know, I'm not saying I love Bill Gates, but Bill Gates is a good example because his wife he used to give so much money to charity that he actually started auditing the charities to see what they used his money for. And
Mhm.
that's where the Melinda Gates Foundation came from. She
Okay.
became dedicated just to properly dispersing his money to charities and making sure the charities were actually making a difference.
Okay. Huh.
Because Bill Gates this was years ago, declared a personal war against polio in Africa. And he and his wife were like, we are personally, with some help of some other very rich people, eradicating polio.
Mhm.
And I was like, well, I mean, that is one thing to do when you're bored on a Tuesday. Time to get
Yeah.
rid of polio, kids.
Yeah.
But that being said, with the philanthropic bent of a guy like Bill Gates or Warren Buffett, if $50 billion would solve all the world's problems, they would have done it already. They would have. I mean, they would have, because they already give away billions of dollars. Why wouldn't they give away a huge chunk if they knew that would be it? Instead, they give away 50 billion over the course of like 7 years,
Mhm. Yeah.
and there's still problems.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like, for any amount of money, because it's not like you can just feed people and then it's fixed, because
Yeah.
they still have to get food from somewhere after you feed them that time,
Yeah.
and parts of the planet are really hard to farm on, so
They
that's
need
one of the
technology.
problems.
That's the
Uh-huh.
only solution is new technology for
Mhm.
that. I mean, yeah.
And that, of course, costs money and probably costs more than, like, whatever, billions of dollars.
I would
Um
imagine so.
But, yeah, I mean, it's at least we're not in the ice age from Fire Punch, so
Ah, yes, Fire Punch, the story about spicy drinks, fruit drinks. Um, oh goodness, this one's a little long. I'll have to read it off screen. James Turner said, "Yeah, their response was that it would help. Quote that it would help. Quote, well, $5 would, or no, their response is it would
Mhm.
help, in quotes. Well, $5 would help. No one has ever given the sound math on how it would actually fix anything. They will criticize the wealthy while they shirk off how the government has spent trillions in 1 year and haven't been able to solve world hunger in a single state of the union. Clown world."
I mean, to be fair,
Huh?
I don't think the government has tried to solve hunger in any of the states of the union.
But I mean, I think that they spend 5.5 billion a year on food, just on
But
food stamps and food programs. They could spend more. They just don't.
I'm just saying, I've never seen them be like, "We're actually gonna do it. We're gonna eradicate hunger in this state."
That's true. Now, I'm not going to argue that well, I feel like California, that's the kind of thing California would say, and then in reality they'd just be throwing the homeless people in the ocean. Like, that's what
Mm.
they actually did. They were like, "Look, we can feed this many homeless people, so let's make sure there's no more than that."
I
Just throwing them, heave-ho them into the ocean.
Yeah.
Craig
Yeah.
Cohen, good to see you, Craig. Hope you're doing very well. He said, "Hello, good afternoon, Henrik. Hey, Michelle. Hope you're having a nice day."
Thanks.
So far, so good. Michelle will be a lot happier when she gets the final call that Gigs is well after her dental cleaning and it's time to come pick your cat up.
Do you think that they would just be so upset that she died that they wouldn't tell me?
No, they'd call you immediately.
Good.
No, they would call you immediately because they would do everything in their power to be fair because you're already going to be like pissed and emotional and wondering if you can sue them. So they
Mhm.
got to try to do right by you right away.
I wouldn't sue them.
Well, now they're going to do whatever they want then. Jeez.
They're nice
As
to me.
Michelle's attorney, as Michelle's attorney, I'm your attorney, by the way. As Michelle's attorney, she would absolutely sue you people into the Stone Age, into the Ice
No,
Age
but
from
then
Fire Punch.
let's No, that's terrible. There's
I'm,
just one guy on fire, and everyone else is dying.
I'm sorry, it's what has to happen.
Oh, man.
So, to wrap things up, because unfortunately I need to get out of here pretty soon. I'm hanging out with an old friend, an old buddy of mine. Haven't seen him in a hot minute. And this was the only time because we're adults. You and I were talking about this before air. We're so adult that we're sitting here doing math to figure out how to hang out. The amount of time we want. So the only time that my buddy could really come over was like Nowsville. Well, in half an hour or so. So I need to get off of here and then run my vacuum cleaner. And I already lit a scented candle.
That's
I'm
nice.
so weird when I have company. That's what I always do is I light the scented candle like a few hours before they get here. That's my move. Paul Lee said, "Good afternoon. Hey, Paul Lee. I'll be
Hi.
seeing you tomorrow night. I'm going to be appearing on Paul Lee's YouTube channel
Oh,
tomorrow
cool.
night." And Craig Cohen said, "I just had my teeth deep cleaned today too. Hope Gigs comes home happy." Well, she'll come home
Thanks.
stoned, so at least there's that. What's
I don't
Gigs
know.
like when she's pumped full of drugs?
I don't know.
Is this the first time you've had a anesthesia done on Gigs?
Uh-huh.
Oh wow, okay. Um, well, you're about to learn how funny your cat will be.
I hope it's not like Xander where he would just go up to us and bite us and then just hold on with his, like not, like, hard, but, like, just continue to
Hard
bite
enough.
down, and
Hard
it would just
enough,
be like,
yeah.
"What are you doing?" And he'd just, like, stand there.
Ow. Youch. Well, my yesterday was spent finally being done dealing with some entertainment lawyers and then dealing with some personal drama, but not even mine, but not professional. So I guess I don't know. Leave me alone. And then dealing with some stuff about buying the house, and then I was so happy I got to go see The Incredible Weight of Massive Talent with Nicolas Cage playing Nicolas Cage.
Mhm.
Highly recommend that movie if you want to go have fun in the theater. I love movies and I love going to the theater, but I'm getting tired. I need a break from all these like 2.5 hour tentpole movies, or even I loved Everything Everywhere All at Once. Like it's possibly the best movie I've seen this year.
Mhm.
But I need a break from like the super long change your life movie or the super long tentpole movie that's gonna have 10 more sequels and you only get a piece of the story and at the end they tell you like part two's coming and you're like, oh cool. I didn't know I was only
Mhm.
seeing a part one. Thanks,
Mhm.
guys. It happens. So uh but as usual, Michelle, I will give you the final word.
Oh,
Well,
boy.
but first I want to read this chat. James Turner said, "Best wishes and happy health to all of your animals."
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Henwolf just woke up from a nap and now she's looking around like she's very upset.
Aw.
She always looks mad when she wakes up. She's just looking around. Her face is all squished on one side.
Mhm.
It's just, she's cute. I sent you that picture of her sleeping on my blanket
Mhm.
or this afternoon. That was really cute. She'll just find like the thing I was using on my lap and just lay on it while I'm working. She's very cute.
Yeah.
Anyway, what do you want to end with, Michelle? What's the thing you need to tell everyone?
I don't want to.
Oh, that's what you need to tell them is that you don't want to?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean that works for me. So, but thank you guys all for hanging out. Sorry I couldn't hang out a little bit longer. I just have to do a thing, and also hopefully Michelle gets her phone call very, very soon. I was kind of hoping
Mhm.
it would happen on the air so I could see you. I could be like, "You feel better?" And you'd be like, "No," and I'd be like, "Well, I knew that."
Yeah.
So, everybody, take care, be well, and we'll see you back next week on Wednesday, probably. So, it's yours, Michelle. Bye.
I don't really want to, but so anyway, in Fire Punch, um, there's a guy and he's just totally on fire, and I like because he can regenerate, so he can't go I don't wanna do this.
Okay, fine. I'm here to say